We've hired a car, and after a little bit of mucking around, we've found our way out of Edinburgh. We're heading up the M90 for about an hour to our first stop in Perth. Coming from Perth in Western Australia, our city was named after Perth in Scotland, and I want to get a photo next to a sign. This Perth is a small, quiet town, although there is a river running through it. Maybe that's why they picked the name for our city, although our river's a little bit bigger. You would think it would be easy to find a sign somewhere. After 30 minutes, we finally found one on one of the roads heading into town. So I can tick that off my list now. We're still heading north for a few more hours. The weather's a bit hit and miss as we go along. I guess it's just typical Scottish weather. And this is the height of summer. We've gone through Inverness and we've picked up the road that runs along Loch Ness. It feels a bit weird driving along Loch Ness on these small windy roads, but yet you still feel comfortable and content doing it. Apart from the odd dropkick that insists on doing 150 kilometres an hour. Loch Ness is one of the largest freshwater lakes in Scotland, or lochs as they call them here. It's about 37 kilometres long and 230 metres deep. It's so big you can actually see it from space. It's too cold to go swimming, but at least I can say I put my hand in the water. Loch Ness is also known for the Loch Ness Monster. The first known sighting was back in the 7th century. But if you listen to the story, it sounds more like a mob of drunken sailors seeing something on their way back from the pub. I did some fishing and I got a story about the one that got away, but I'll tell you about that another day. Along the whole length of Loch Ness there is only one castle sitting on its banks, and that is Urquhart Castle. This castle has been here since the 13th century, but there has been other forms of medieval fortifications here before that. At the time, people moved around mostly by boat, and there was always someone willing to take a shot at the castle as they went by. Its final demise was in 1690 after a long battle with the Jacobite clan. The Grant clan blew it up rather than let it fall into the Jacobites' hands. It then sat for 200 years forgotten about, till it was opened for tourism. Today over 350,000 tourists come from all over to see what's left. At the bottom of the castle was the storeroom. It's interesting that if this castle was still here in one piece, it would be one of the largest castles in Scotland. It may have been built here for strategic reasons, but the view would have been a big win for anyone that had to spend the long hours keeping watch from up here. It was from this part of the river that the Loch Ness Monster was first sighted by St. Columba, who was sailing up to Inverness. This is all that's left of the kitchen area. It's so quiet here, not even the tourists say much. This gives you an idea of just how thick the castle walls actually were. Urquhart Castle, as old as it is, with all its battle scars, will always be around as long as the tourists keep coming. There will always be an interest in its stories. Now it's just a matter of sitting back and enjoying the ride to our stop for the night. Fort Williams is the second biggest town in the Highlands and is on the west coast of Scotland. Our reason for being here is to take the Jacobite steam train, but that's for another day. Now it's just a matter of booking into our hotel. In our next episode, we're taking the Jacobite steam train to Loch. We will cross the aqueduct made famous by the Harry Potter movie.